Michel Foucault, French philosopher and historian of systems of thought. He is considered a postmodernist and post-structuralist, but he does not appreciate this classification. He believes that he is the inheritor of the modernist tradition. He thinks that the word postmodernism itself is very vague. The emergence of Michel Foucault's name is subversive, and his ideological radiance cannot be avoided in almost every field. It has a huge impact on history, philosophy, literature, literary theory, social sciences, and even psychiatry and medicine. As the French philosopher Deleuze said, the 20th century should be called the Foucault era, which shows the great influence of this Frenchman. It can be said that Michel Foucault is a thinker who is against tradition and Western Orthodox civilization. He is unwilling to say which school his thoughts belong to and refuses to be labeled by the outside world. In his philosophical thought, he severely criticized traditional historicism, broke the deification of history, and reshaped real history. He challenged traditional Western philosophy, and while undermining the foundations of historical concepts, he also opened up a new line of thought for the philosophical community. It is worth mentioning that his thoughts have profoundly influenced the thought patterns and methodology of postmodernism, and people often list him as a representative figure of postmodernism. Michel Foucault died in Paris on June 25, 1984. As the most famous thinker in France and even in the world at that time, his death received unprecedented attention from the society. Prime Minister Fabius issued a mourning notice for his death. Le Monde and Liberation both published the news of his death on their front pages. The weekend edition of Liberation even used 8 pages to publish articles mourning the deceased philosopher. Bradel, the master of the analyst school, also commented, "France has lost one of the most brilliant thinkers of our time and one of the most generous intellectuals. Foucault undoubtedly deserves these praises." Each of his representative works, including Madness and Civilization, The Order of Things, Discipline and Punish, and History of Sexuality, has had a multifaceted impact on the world. He is regarded as a leading postmodern thinker who reflects on rationalism. His analysis and deconstruction of the power system became the foundation of many subsequent equal rights theories. Even his iconic bald head and turtleneck sweater clothing combination has become a fashion in the intellectual circle. Few philosophers of his time could match his fame and influence, but his theories were so obscure and his lifestyle was quite absurd. Today, let us look for the shining points left by this mysterious and complex master in various industries. Man will be totally and definitively cured only if he is first liberated. We are freer than we think. The soul is the prison of the body. All educational systems are political ways of maintaining or modifying the appropriateness of speech, using the knowledge and power they imply. Perversion is behavior that conforms to human nature but departs from reason. The ubiquitous spying makes people anxious, but also makes them automatically docile in the absence of a sense of security. The more abstract and complex knowledge becomes, the greater the danger of madness. Generally speaking, civilization creates an environment that is conducive to the development of madness. The soul is like a small boat, abandoned in the vast sea of desire, the barren land of worry and ignorance, the mirage of knowledge or the world of irrationality. So those who resist or rebel against forms of power cannot be content simply to condemn violence or criticize a particular system, nor is it enough to blame ordinary rationality. This society is castrating us, demanding that we be normal, even if it is the reason that drives us crazy. Make things that are considered static move. Make things that are considered whole fragmented, and expose the heterogeneity of things that are imagined to have consistency. The secret of not having an essence that never changes is that there is no essence. In people's eyes, this punishment method is as barbaric as, or even exceeds, the crime itself, and it makes the audience accustomed to the atrocities they originally wanted to discuss. The world has as many faces of inexhaustible insanity as there are characters, ambitions, and inevitable illusions. Since the fall of mankind, humans have regarded labor as a form of penance, hoping that it has the power to atone for sins. The goal at hand is not to discover who we are, but to reject who we are. If I do not force you at all and leave you in a state of complete freedom, but you still choose the path I have prepared for you, that is when I begin to exercise power. Soul is the prison of the body. In modern society, people in the power system need to use the function of enlightenment and self-questioning to reconstruct and truly enter a mature state. The West has never stopped dreaming of handing over power to the discourse of truth in a just city-state. Madness is not a natural phenomenon, but a product of civilization. Without the history of cultures that labeled it madness and persecuted it, there would be no history of madness. Psychology as a treatment method has since been constructed around punishment. It does not relieve the patient first, but creates pain according to strict moral requirements. Once we grasp the truth, we will be changed. The soul of business is selfishness, so it is easy to become jealous of others and do whatever it takes to achieve your goals. The historical reality of the human soul is that it is born in bondage and surveillance. Just as death is the limit of human life in the realm of time, madness is the limit of human life in the realm of bestiality. Rights come from below, power comes from above. Everything that humans learn from books or any other channel is false. It is just an aggregation of keywords. I could not provide myself or others with the ordinary joys of everyday life. Such joys meant nothing to me, and I could not organize my life around them. The person who discovers the truth is lonely, and originality represents its uniqueness through history. There is no point in interpreting reasoning, truth, or knowledge in the name of support or opposition. All kinds of mental disorders, all kinds of narcissistic delusions, and all kinds of emotions, when developed to the point of blindness, are truly madness, because blindness is the outstanding feature of madness. Narcissism is the first partner of folly in its dance. This is because they have a special relationship. Narcissism is the first symptom of madness. This is also because man is so attached to himself that he takes error for truth, lies for reality, violence and ugliness for justice and beauty. The disorder of our minds is the result of our blind submission to our desires and our inability to control and calm our feelings. This leads to all the vices of life, such as ecstasy, aversion, bad habits, depression caused by sadness, anger after rejection, overeating, demoralization, and the worst diseases. Discourse is power. The essence of definition is a right. Truth is an emotional response to the injustices and lies of power. What power can control are only living people and everything that living people need. Death is the limit of power. Death is the moment of escaping from the control of power. Death is the most secret and private point of existence. What is important is to tell the era of the myth, not the era told by the myth. As long as we constantly calibrate the relationship between our behavior and the truth, everyone can become a philosopher. The liberal formula is simple. I will produce what you need to be free. I will ensure that you have the freedom to be free. Psychiatry has from the beginning had a repressive function in the maintenance of social order. Psychiatric hospitals are in fact places of house arrest with the appearance of medicine, where insanity is prohibited just as speech is prohibited. Modern psychiatric treatment has turned medicine into justice and treatment into repression. Only death is the limit of power, the only moment to escape from power. Death is the most secret point of existence, the most inner point of existence. As long as marriage between men is not recognized, there is no civilization. Everyone knows that it is impossible to stop children from masturbating. There is no scientific evidence that masturbation is harmful to people. We can at least say that it is the only harmless pleasure. So why has it been banned for so long? If sex with a man makes me happy, why should I be denied that pleasure? We have power and we should not give it up. Power makes people crazy, so the renunciation of power is one of the conditions for the acquisition of knowledge. You have to be a hero to face the morality of the times. Shockingly, our prisons are similar to our factories, schools, military bases, and hospitals, and all of these are similar to prisons. This does not exclude the fact that, at the same time, power is exerted over the body, not so much as a physical punishment as an ideological command. The history of power struggles and the real conditions under which power is exercised and maintained as a result is almost completely hidden. In short, power is exercised, not possessed.